Okay, expenses. Expenses is just like it sounds, it's whatever you spend to run that property for the month. If you need to add a paper invoice, if you get one in the mail and you need to add an invoice, if you go up to this little plus sign at the top, it'll bring up all of these functions. And what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to put a bill in. And you can choose a vendor. I have no idea what vendors are available in here. Let's say you got the gate fixed, because these do not auto draft. So you get paper invoices for access control. Why is that? Oh, okay, never mind. It will always pull up. Once you pull up a vendor, it will pull up the last transaction, the coding for the last transaction. You can't always let it default to that, because this one we did something, I don't know what we did for that gate repair. I think we added some software, which is why it's under a fixed asset. Most of the time, it should be under an expense account, which are these 5,000 numbers down, and never stores correctly. Under these 5,000 numbers are all the repair and maintenance, and see where it has controlled access. Most of the time, access control will fall under here. If it is an expense that we are increasing an asset, get with me on that, and we'll figure out if it's a depreciable asset or not.
So when you hit the bill, part of it on the plus sign, it defaults to the last transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going over that last transaction, or using line 2?
No, you have to change that, because it's going to post that. Whatever is in that line,
okay.
it just pulls up the last transaction.
Okay.
So we just wipe it out.
We just wipe it out.
Yeah, you can just get rid of
Okay.
it here and then start over, or you can just change what's there. If you just want to get rid of it, that's fine. I don't have an invoice, but any other time I would choose a category. Please write a description on what it is. It's a whole lot easier when you run your expense report at the end of the month, your detail expenses. You can see what it was. You don't have to write a book, just, 2-3 words, gate repair, I don't care. And the amount. Memo, it can be the same as the description. It's not a big deal. And please attach.
Something needs to be in the memo now.
Well, if you've got it up here, it does not need to be in both. If you've got more than one line item and you just want to put one description, that's fine too. Totally up to you. It's really just a tool for you guys to use. So whatever it is that's going to identify it for you, because when you run the detail expense report at the end of the month, it's what you want to be able to see. So whatever makes sense, means something to you when you run the report, and you'll know what it is. Totally up to you what you put in there.
But if we just put it in the description, is it going to show on the detail report, or is the memo box all that shows? In the detail?
Depends on what report you run. Okay. On the bank register, the memo shows up. So it doesn't hurt to put them in both, because different reports pull up different fields in this report, in this screen.
So you can put in the description and in the memo.
Yeah, and you can just copy it. You can just right click and copy whatever's in that box and just put it down here. You don't have to type it in twice.
You can add more info in the memo box, right?
Yes.
Yeah, descriptions,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, this will take, I don't know that I've ever hit the limit on the memo.
Oh, if you hover over it, it said something.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry?
Yeah, right there. Does not appear on printed bill.
It doesn't print on, that means it doesn't print on the check. But this field does not print on the check either. The invoice number will print on the check, and the bill date will print on the check, but nothing else really does. The coding will not print on the check. This is for internal. Yeah, so this stuff doesn't really do anything on a check.
And then we have to manually change like the bill date, the due date, put in the.
Yes, it'll default to whatever date you're in, or it'll, if I do a
What about
save and new,
terms? What is terms?
generally it's net 30. There's, most of the time, when you put a bill in, if you just go ahead and pay it, if it's a big bill, you might want to check the cash. But for the most part, all these normal, everyday functions, the upkeep and repairs, just pay them. There's no reason not to. They're due. And
Okay, so I have a question. So the exterminator sends us a bill, an invoice, right?
Mhm.
Instead of us giving it to Kathy, we would take that invoice, we would enter it in here.
Mhm.
Are we actually cutting the check for the, okay, are we all gonna have check scanners and stuff like that?
You
or-
don't have to have a scanner, it's just the checks are pre-printed with the name and the account number.
Okay.
You'll need a scanner to scan the invoice.
Yes.
You'll need a printer to print the check. There'll be
Right,
pre-printed QuickBooks checks with the account number and the routing number at the bottom. And
Okay.
you'll print the detail of the vendor and amount
in
and
the
all
amount
that.
of the, okay,
That's right.
So we'll print out the checks, mail them and all that to the.
Yes.
so instead of giving them to Kathy, we will just either keep them. So we have some rearranging to do, because a lot of times, all the invoices will come to me and I will just review, or Thomas will, say, hey, the new property manager is Andrew. So we're gonna have to do some rearranging on where all these invoices are coming into, or if possible, put them on auto pay.